What is up, guys? It's Troy at the Full Setup, back with another video for you, and this week we're going to be doing a sort of summary of the news of the week. There was a couple of stories that came out during the week. I did plan to do videos when I got back from work, but I've just been super busy, so I think what we'll probably do now is either on a Friday or a Saturday, we'll just summarize stuff up. It's just things that I've been reading during the week, and as I've said in the other videos, I don't research stuff massively. It's just something for us to talk about, and it's something for us to talk about in the comments section, because the last few videos it's been really nice sort of talking with you all and just seeing your views. And as I always say with these videos, I feel like there's always going to be a disclaimer at the beginning, is that there is going to be rumors in there. There is going to be like little snippets of little just bits that possibly might not end up being true, but take it with a pinch of salt, you know. And what I'm saying, a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about as well, they're my opinion, okay? So they don't have to be your opinion, and I'm actually really interested in what your opinion is and stuff as well, because we're all different types of gamers or different types of techies, and we all have different budgets, and we're all into different things, and we might actually have more knowledge about certain things than others. So I'm always very interested to learn something new. So if I get something wrong, if you want to get all technical, hit me up with it. I'm happy. Like I like learning. My brain is like a sponge. Now I have messed around with the camera a little bit more, so I'm using the kit lens with my Lumix G9. I think I'm set at about 18mm. I definitely need to get a backdrop. We're going to get that sorted. And for anyone that's asking, yes, that is an RGB chair. I know some people are interested on that. I have got a full review on that. I'll maybe link it in the description. This is the Genesis Trip 500. They sent it over, Polish company, really cool. Where was I at? I've already lost myself because I was waffling. I've lost it. I've lost where I'm at, guys. I've lost where I'm at. Oh yeah, the camera. So we're using 18mm. And I have gone for autofocus this time because I do like to move about a lot. I can't reach the manual focus button, so I've got to get like a extendable thing with a touch thing on the end. So we've gone for that this time, something a little bit different. Anyway, the news that we're going to discuss today is, you know, things that I've already discussed over the last sort of week. So everything being sold out, scalpers, bots buying stuff, companies apologizing and saying, you know, we're going to do something about it, but do they really care? I don't think they do. We're going to talk about all of that. We're also going to talk about 3080 crashing issues and possibly the 3090 as well. What else are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about the consoles. I'm going to go on for a little bit at the end of the video. I want to talk about why I actually think the Xbox Series S is the worst value out of all of the next gen consoles, and is definitely a console that you shouldn't buy. I know people are reaching for the keyboard and going, I can't afford it. It's great price for the money in Game Pass. Just hear me out. It's not good value. Anyway, let's have a look. Should we talk about scalpers then? Let's have a look how much a 3090 is going for on eBay at the moment. $2.5 grand. I wonder what the highest price is. Well, not too bad. Not as bad the other day. People were listing there for 3,500, 2,000, and let's just go with the lowest price. Oh, nice. So we have a drawing of an RTX 3090, £34. And we want to do buy it now. Let's have a little look. Let's have a little look, boys. Because as we know, the RTX 3090 went for sale this week, and it was the same thing you couldn't get on any website. £1,700. So I think scalpers are realizing that we don't want to buy your shit. Is that not what's happened? I think that's what's happened. It's the same again with the Series X. You can see here there's people listing it for £800, but then you've got £550, £100. By the time you actually take all your eBay fees into account for that, and the shipping, and just the risk of it as well when you're selling to someone, because I know you've got certain buyer protections, but eBay normally always leans towards the person that bought it, not the bloody seller. There's not really any money in it for you. So yeah, unless you've got like a £1 listing fee or something like that, all the people that bought stuff to just sell, very stupid, very stupid. And most of the companies have come out and said, you know, we're going to do something about it. We're going to try to stop it. But I don't think you can. I don't think you can stop a load of people going onto a website and wanting to buy something to sell it on. I just don't think they can. And I don't think they're massively bothered either, because you know, these companies, AMD, Nvidia, Intel, Microsoft, PlayStation, all of these companies, they just want to sell units, okay? That's what they want to do. They want to make as much money as possible. they can act like you're their friend. Like AMD massively has acted like they're your friend for the last few years, and they're giving you so much more than Intel, and they are giving Intel a good spanking in certain markets and certain areas where they sell their CPUs, but they're still not your friend. They're still all about the profit at the end of the day, and that's something that you can see now with the popularity of Ryzen. The CPUs slightly been going up a little bit year on year. The price of the motherboards have been going up. I know the B550s are very equipped. I sort of shat on B550 when it first came out and said it's a rip-off, but my Tomahawk motherboard, which I ended up paying 140 for, not the 180 at launch for, the B550 Tomahawk, fantastic motherboard. Happy to pay that £140 price to it, and to be fair, if it was 170, if it didn't drop in price, I'd still be happy about it. But these companies aren't really your friends, but then obviously they are going to be concerned, because if you can't buy an Nvidia graphics card, and AMD have lots of stock of Navi, a lot of people are going to buy Navi. They're not going to wait for the Nvidia card to come in stock, and that's where you lose someone there, because I find this especially with graphics cards. I'm someone that will jump in between, but I've always gone on about how I'm a Nvidia fanboy. I'm not going to hide that from you, and it will come out, because you'll see me make more Nvidia videos than I will do AMD news videos, because I'm not hugely interested in AMD graphics cards, which maybe is a discussion for another day and a video for another day. But you know, if you go over to another graphics card, you might really like it, and then you get really looking forward to the next one. So that's how they get you, and that's probably why Nvidia, it's not just the performance, because obviously they've had the best cards for a while now. I think it is brand loyalty. So that's something that you could lose there. So I think that's what they're concerned about, and I think it's the same for shop as well. If it's a shop that you always use, say overclockers, and you haven't been able to get onto their site, you start looking for other websites. So I feel that's their concern there, but really, they're all about the profit, and I don't think there's any way that you can stop scalpers and bots. If you've got a really good idea on how you can stop it, let me know in the comment section. Which brings us over to the last bit about all the bots and stuff then. So AMD is determined for Big Navi not to be a paper launch. Not to be a paper launch. And some people said in my other videos that the Ampere graphics card launch isn't a paper launch. I think it was. I know there's going to be a massive demand for it. I know there would have been a lot of people who sold their 2080 Ti's, and a lot of people wanted to upgrade from their 1080 Ti's. There is always going to be big demand for Nvidia graphics cards on launch, especially the high-end ones. But generally there is never a lot of stock. You could even say the last RTX launch was a little bit of a paper launch, okay? So AMD is determined for Big Navi not to be a paper launch. In just a few weeks, AMD will counter Nvidia's recent GeForce RTX 3000 series launch with its own gen of next generation graphics cards, the Radeon RX 6000 series. So here's Frank Hansel saying, not being able to pick up a 3090 today means my work is going to be fucked for the next little bit. Can they at least release a new Quadro so I can get my work done? Alright, I think you're probably talking shit, mate. $10 say AMD will be a paper launch too. Frank Hazel, I look forward to taking your $10. Now, maybe they've got a lot of stock. Maybe they've got a large volume of stock. But even if Nvidia had a large volume of stock, I'm telling you who had a large volume of stock of 3 items. Sony with the PlayStation 5, Microsoft with the Xbox Series S and X. Sold out in like 10-15 minutes. So we know a lot of that got bought by bots. I know far more people that were able to get the new consoles versus, you know, the new graphics cards. I know that. Quite a few of my friends actually just went, sod it, I can't get a 3080, I'll wait for the new year, I'm ordering a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X. Quite a few of my friends have done that. And to be honest, it's something that I think I'm probably going to do myself when they restock the consoles, because we're going to talk about, you know, some issues with the RTX series graphics cards in a minute. But with all the bots, with all the people trying to buy it to make a quick buck on eBay, to make some extra money for Christmas, because it has been a tough year. I don't care how many they've got. They will all be sold out and all the websites will crash on that day. So, yeah. But I'm very interested to see it, because if it punches with the 3080 and has 16 gigabytes of VRAM, I'm very interested in it, but it's hard for me because it would make me interested in it as a gaming card. But because I do video editing and that HVenc encoder, which I know I chat about all the time in a lot of my other gaming videos, with Adobe Premiere on hardware acceleration is a massive reason why I would want Nvidia cards. And again, with these news stories, you know, I'd definitely like to go live with them. If they do become popular, I would like to become live with them. So when I'm doing all of this now, I could have you chatting on screen and we can talk about stuff. Again, why am I going to render that on my CPU when my GPU can do it with just such a minimal frame rate hit? So AMD have to do a lot for me. It's not just gaming they have to do well at. They have to do the other things that I love about Nvidia cards, and they just don't do it. Okay? Just don't do it. So the last bit then. The last bit actually, because of the scalping, which I knew would happen. I knew this one would happen. When I heard the Xbox Series S and X name, I was like, Jesus Christ, Microsoft is stupid. Absolutely stupid, because a parent that doesn't really know a lot about stuff, like at the moment at work, because I work in IT, everyone's asking me about different tech. I was trying to find a few members of staff Series X's that weren't sold out anywhere, so because they promised it to their kids for Christmas. Santa Claus is buying it. You fucked up there, didn't you, by saying that? So yeah, I always knew that the naming was going to cause issues, because you got the 1S, the 1X, the Series S, the Series X. And for someone that doesn't know much and knows that they're selling out everywhere and they can't get on the websites, they're probably going to slip up and they're probably going to make a mistake. Here's a little screenshot of something that I accidentally ordered. I hope I've still got a screenshot of it. I accidentally ordered this like Halo Xbox display thing. Yeah, accidentally bought it in my pocket. Well, in my hand. It was like on my chest, I think. Yeah, it was on my chest. It was on my titty. It was on my titty and I bought it. So people do make retail mistakes. And the Xbox Series X surged by 431% yesterday in sales. I've actually seen rumours of it reporting surging up to like 700%. You poor buggers. Those poor kids, right? Could you imagine if the parent hasn't realised this? I want to know your thoughts on this. So the parent hasn't realised this. They've shelled out 400 quid, and they're probably even a bit more because they might have bought a bundle. £450. They think they've got their child a Series X for Christmas. It's going to sit in a freaking box right now. The kid isn't going to see it because they haven't told them they bought it. Do you know what I mean? They'd be like, maybe if you're good, all right, you might get one. So they haven't even bloody told them. So it's just going to be sat in a box. They're going to open it on Christmas Day, right? Parents spent £450 on this thing. Open it on Christmas Day. Some little 8-year-old kid's going to be like, the fuck? This is the wrong one. This isn't the one. And you probably won't be able to get a Series X anywhere. Maybe you can do returns. I don't know if they started it, you know, if you buy it within this time, you can return for Christmas. But fuck. Those poor kids, man. Those poor kids, those poor parents. That is not going to be a nice Christmas dinner, I'm telling you. It's not going to be enjoyable. I wouldn't enjoy it. Like, you could say they're being ungrateful, but come on. Mum, you're fucked up. You're fucked up. You bought the wrong console and you spent the same amount of money. Mum, you're fucked up. I'd tell her. I would absolutely tell her. So you managed to get an RTX 3080, right? You managed to actually get one. So you're feeling like a boss right now, right? Yeah? You are feeling like an absolute boss with yourself right now because you got a 3080. Everyone else was trying. And you just get to feel like Mr. Big Dick for a bit, right? Well, depends on what 3080 you bought, because a stability problem is brewing with Nvidia RTX 30 and also I think 3090 GPUs. It's not unusual to see some users posting problems when a new GPU or CPU launches. That we know to expect. There is going to obviously be some issues with graphics drivers. Certain games might not work properly. Another thing as well is quite often the river tuner that we like to use with MSI Afterburner. Certain games when they launch it could crash, certain cards can be the same. Now one thing you can also, that a lot of people always run into as well with graphics cards, is that they don't uninstall them properly. They don't use DDU, display driver uninstaller, which booting into safe mode is definitely something you always need to do when you're swapping graphics cards, and especially if you're going between Nvidia and AMD. I've run into problems by not removing drivers properly. But there seems to be a big issue with RTX 3080 and 3090 GPUs when they are pushing past 2 GHz, something that I find is a little bit odd because we know that they haven't really been pushing the frequency that much, probably since Pascal. Sort of stayed around the same. Known affected models include the Zotac RTX 3080 Trinity and the MSI RTX Ventus 3X OC. MSI's gaming trio is mentioned, as is EVGA's RTX 3080 XC. These reports make approximately the same claim that GPU crashes in one or more titles, often at around 2 GHz, reducing clock speeds can solve this, but you don't want to do this. This isn't a long-term thing if you've got to reduce clock speeds. And you know, can it be fixed by firmware? Can it be fixed by drivers? Well, if it's what Eagles Lab said, then probably not. It's probably going to be that you're going to be sending your GPU back, because you're not going to want to run it less than what you paid for it. Do you know what I mean? And it comes down to power delivery. It's not something that I'm massively geeky and teched up with, but yeah, it's looking like power delivery. And to be honest, you know, when you're spending that much on the graphics card, I expect the power delivery to be ballsy, which is probably why I quite often like to go with Asus. I quite like their power delivery, and those are cards that aren't affected. So it comes down a lot to like the capacitors. So you see you've got these big chunky buggers here. This is how we're going to get out of tech. So I think these are... Which one's a watch? The Nvidia uses 4 POS caps and 2 MLCCs. Okay, so these ones are the MLCCs and these are the POS caps. So it's not actually affecting the Founders Edition, and that's because they're using a sort of mix of power delivery. That's all I know. But all I know is that these big boys here, these big buggers, are what's causing the problem. So as you can see here on the Zotac one, we just got 6 of the fat boys and none of the skinny dicks. And because we've got none of the skinny dicks, that is what's causing crashes. Technical analysis by Troy there. But yeah, I don't know what to do with that. We already know that Asus Tough Card's going to be hard to get. I don't particularly like the look of it, but it is a top performer, man. That's a top performer, and they don't use any of these fat dicks. They just use all the skinny dicks, all right? Just using all these little skinny dicks right here. So it's definitely something to be looking out for, and it's definitely something that I would be concerned about. And EVGA has confirmed that issues with certain types of capacitor are the source of an increasing number of reports of crashing associated with factory overclocked RTX 3080 graphics cards. Eagles Labs being announced again, so it seems to be the issue. Also note that we have updated the product pictures at EVGA.com to reflect the production components that ship to gamers. Okay, let's go up. During our mass production QC testing, we discovered a full 6 POS cap solution cannot pass the real world application testing. It took almost a week out of R&D effort to find the cause and reduce the POS caps to 4 and add 20 MLC little dicks. So yeah, EVGA looked like they spotted it before they shipped it out, so that's good. So it must just be maybe some reviewer units that have got that issue. Like we said, it doesn't seem to be on any of the Asus cards, so you are going to want to be having a little look. Definitely be researching as well. So it gets even harder for gamers. So you can't bloody get one, and then when you do get one, you don't know if it's going to shit itself. That's crap. Nvidia. Oh, could you imagine if you bought a 3090? Could you imagine if you bought a 3090 for like $3,000 and it's got shit power delivery on it? Fuck. Jesus. Okay then, time for the controversial bit. Why I think that Xbox Series S is the worst value out of all the consoles. And I know a lot of people are going to go crazy here because not everyone has the budget to spend on, say, a £500 console. You know, or you don't have a 4K TV. And I know a lot of you are going to say Game Pass as well, so you can get the all access pass for like £20, because you might not even have the 250 initial outlay, and you might not have money to buy big AAA games all the time. So you know, get the Game Pass, especially now it's adding EA, and they bought Bethesda as well. Like, there's some big things to come from it there, but I don't think it's good value. And to be fair, you know, well, you can say not value, but then buying any games console does have a sort of value perspective, because it doesn't matter how much it is. If you were spending £450 on one, if you're keeping that console for its 6 to 7 year lifespan, that's not a lot of money. What is that? Let me just work that out. Let's just talk about the 450. So we go 450 divided by 7, £65 a year. Okay, just for your hardware costs. That's not a lot of money. And then if we go for the 250, £35. That's not bad. It's not bad. And if you do get the all access one, it works out slightly cheaper, and it is 0% as well anyway in the UK through Klarna. So you're not actually, you know, you're not paying like 30% interest back on it. You're not got some shitty credit rate. So there is some value there, okay? There is some value there, and it's actually cheaper. If you've got the £250 to drop down on the S or the £450 on the X, it's cheaper to buy the console over 2 years and then buy Game Pass from like a reseller, because I get 3 months of Xbox Ultimate for Oscar. I think we pay like £18 for it, or it's something most we've ever paid is about £21, £22. So it works out a little bit cheaper if you do that. But for me, the reason why you shouldn't be buying one, and we're going to have a look at the specs here. So we'll just keep the PS5 as it is, because we know there's a £350 model that doesn't come with a disc drive and a £350 one that comes with a drive. So let's just look at the X anyway, the S, start with S, because on a hardware level for £250, 8-core Zen CPU, Zen 2 as well, an 8-core Zen CPU, 4 teraflop GPU, so we're talking somewhere around a 1060, RX 480, 1650 Super, you know, we've got that sort of stuff going on there, 4 teraflops, 10 gigabytes of GDDR6. Do you know, that's real nice? It's real nice. But the problem with it being digital only and only having a 512 gigabyte SSD. So how much are these? Xbox Series S 1 terabyte SSD. How much are these? It's come out. So these drives, they're going to cost $220 to £220. What have I just gone on like an advert? What's going on? Yes, have a look at them. They're going to cost £220. Okay, to add 1 terabyte. I've seen somewhere saying they'd be 160, and I always knew they were going to be expensive because they're PCIe 4.0 SSDs, like a 1 terabyte one. The cheapest one you can get, like from companies like Sabrent that provide all the SSDs for my computer, so go and check them out. They're about £160. So it's not made by them, it's not made by like a cheaper company, it's made by Seagate. So there's going to be the Seagate tax. It's then put in a proprietary little box thing. So then there's going to be more money on top. So it's still, some people actually make one, you know, but we don't know if it's going to work with other ones. But with the PlayStation, we know it's just got an NVMe slot, okay? So it's just an NVMe slot, and obviously they're going to vet certain SSDs to work with it. I don't think there's a lot at the moment, but coming into next year when we get the next gen of PCIe 4.0 SSDs, the sort of second batch, ones that are performing a little bit better, and you can just pop one of those SSDs in it. And that's for me why it doesn't make any sense in a value thing, because for £100 more, let's just say you can actually buy all of these consoles. You can go into a store and buy them now. They haven't all been sold out. For your £100 more, you're getting an extra 325 gigabyte of hard drive space, okay? You've got the idea that you can put an NVMe slot in it at a later date. Like, you're not going to be buying a lot of games as well. The first year, there's not going to be a lot out. So you're not going to be buying loads of games. Now, both of them, if they're older generation games, you can store them on an external hard drive. So if it's Xbox, anything going back from Xbox One and the older PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3 games, you can store those on a hard drive. You can also store the newer games on a hard drive, but you have to transfer them about. And my other concern is when games become optimized. So if they say optimized for Series S, have they done some SSD trickery as well? Does that game have to reside on your SSD? Because suddenly you're going to have this 60 to 90 gigabyte game that's had some optimizations. Great, you want to see it, but then you've got to put it on your 500 gigabyte SSD. We only need another Warzone to come out and you're fucked if you're a Microsoft user. So if you actually bought that SSD, if it was £150, you're at 400, right? If it's 200, which is what I think it's going to be, pretty much, you're at £450. You might as well just bought the X. You might as well just go broke for a few months. But then with the S, do you know what I mean? Not the S, the PS5 all digital, £100 more, you're getting upgraded to a 10.28 teraflop GPU. Like, I don't actually think there's going to be a lot in this either. I think there'll be some games on Microsoft that look, you know, that extra, but I feel the games that come out on both will look about the same, because why not just optimize it to work on that and then just port it over? There's no, I just don't feel, you're talking about what, 1.7 teraflops? I don't feel there's the point. So you get that extra 300 gigabyte of SSD space, great. All right, you've got that well ready to go. Well, 312 gigabyte of SSD space, ready to go, all right at the beginning, plus you get a 10 teraflop GPU. So I think the S is a really bad buy, and I think some people the other day would have bought the S because they couldn't afford the X. So I think it's a bad buy, but the thing is, I still want to buy one. But I want to buy a 1 terabyte version, and I feel like I maybe need to wait a bit, because I want to wait until you got those SSDs, or are they going to be a 500 gigabyte SSD? Because Oscar, for example, now he's just getting my old gaming gear, so he's just got a 1080p 75 hertz monitor, sort of little 24-inch one that he games on. He's got his Xbox plugged into it. When I upgrade my monitor, because I've got a 1080p high refresh rate to a 2K high refresh rate, he'll get this. So he doesn't need the greatest power, and he's 7 as well, for fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't know the difference. Like, he just wants to play a game. If you put Fortnite on a fridge, like on a fridge, Well, there was a display on it, a smart thing. You just sit there playing Fortnite like that for hours. It's because that's what kids do. They don't know. They want the best, but they don't know the best. Do you know what I mean? They're just happy to be playing stuff. So I really want to see an Xbox Series S 1TB by next Christmas for the same price that it is now, because I feel that's what you need to buy it. And I feel for a lot of people that will be good. Like I'm saying, I'm not saying it's not terrible value, but for me, it's the worst value out of all of the consoles, the new consoles that you could buy. Just that PS5, £100 more for so much more that you get. You couldn't do that to your computer. You couldn't say, I'm going to spend £100 on my computer and I'm going to get an extra 300-400 gigabytes of NVMe SSD space and an extra 6 teraflops of GPU performance. You just can't. But anyway, that's it from me today. Let me know in the comments section, have you been really struggling getting some gaming parts? Are you actually glad that you didn't get a 3080 or 3090 now because you've got all of the power delivery issues? And do you agree with me? Do you think that Xbox Series S is the worst value of all the consoles, or do you think that I'm just being a bit of an elitist? Let me know in the comments section.